I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. This is our time for women emerging on the planet. So we're changing the world one woman at a time, communities, families, work environments one woman at a time. And together we are a powerful collective. And I get to introduce you to amazing women that inspire me. So today, my guest is my friend and someone that has inspired me for a very long time, Marcie Shimoff. She's a #1 New York Times bestselling author, a world-renowned transformational teacher, and an expert on happiness, success, and unconditional love. Her books include the runaway bestsellers, Happy for No Reason, Love for No Reason, and get this, 6 titles in the phenomenally successful Chicken Soup for the Women's Soul series. Her books have sold more than 16 million copies worldwide in 33 languages, have topped major best-selling lists, and have been on the New York Times bestseller list for a total of, get this, 121 weeks. Marcie is one of the best-selling female nonfiction authors of all time. And by the way, she's a fabulous human being. So she's inspired millions of people. She has a fabulous program called A Year of Miracles with thousands of participants from 72 countries for living a life of miracles. Marcie, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Cynthia, I'm so happy to be here with you. I have been sitting here the whole time with this big smile on my face, just because that's how I feel anytime I get to be in your presence.
Thank you. Well, Marcie, I really want to kind of take a little bit of a backward look. People look at successful people like you and they think, oh my gosh, they dropped in on the planet and they just zoomed up to success. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and what was always stirring in you?
Yeah. So Cynthia, I am the least likely person to be living this life that I feel so blessed to be living these days. I was born depressed. I came out of the womb with existential angst. I had great parents, but I just felt this heaviness in my heart. I just really felt like, I was an empath, as I know you are, and I imagine many people listening are. And so growing up, I was depressed. My solution to it was sugar. I was about 35 pounds overweight when I was in high school, and I was even more depressed. And so when I was in my 20s, I decided I was going to figure out how to get happy. And one of the things that I wrote down 5 things I thought I needed to be happy. I'll just share them with you because I think people will relate. I wanted to have a successful career helping people. I wanted to have a wonderful husband or life partner, great friends, a comfortable home, and the equivalent of Halle Berry's body. Now, I have 4 out of the 5. I do not have Halle Berry's body, but I have a healthy body for which I'm very, very grateful. And I worked really hard to get all those things. And I'll tell you sort of the ending of that story later, because that's later in our conversation. But in the striving to have that successful career helping people, I really had a vision. That was, I knew that my soul was here to help women be happy and successful. I didn't know how, and I was working really hard. I'll tell you a little formula that I learned years ago from my first coach, Bill Levesey. The formula for success is intention, attention, and no tension. Intention, be clear about what you want. Attention is put your attention on it. And no tension is relax, let go, surrender, let the universe do its part too. Well, I was really good at the intention and attention pieces. I knew I wanted to have a successful career helping people. I was very good at the attention pieces. I was working really hard. I was really bad at the no tension piece. And really bad. I did not know how to let go. And one day, my dear friend of mine, whom you know, Janet Atwood, came to me and said, Marcie, you look terrible. I need to take you away with me on a silent meditation retreat, 7 days. And I looked at her and I said, Janet, you're crazy. I'm a speaker. I don't do silence. She said, no, you really need this. And off we went on this silent meditation retreat. And Cynthia, the first few days were not easy for me. But on the fourth day, I was really settled in. I was in that place of no tension. And in the middle of a meditation, out of the blue, I saw this light, like a light bulb that goes off in people's head. And it said, chicken soup for the woman's soul. And I knew that that was a gift from the divine. I knew that that's what I was supposed to do that was going to bring me that success. And Jack Canfield, the originator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, was my mentor. The only book that was out at the time was the original book. Nobody had thought of any other books. And here was this great epiphany. There was one problem, and that is I still had 3 more days of silence, and I couldn't tell anybody. But as soon as the silence course was over, I ran to the closest payphone. It was before cell phones were out. And I called up Jack and I said, chicken soup for the woman's soul. And he said, oh my God, what a great idea. And he called the publisher who said, oh my God, what a great idea. I can't believe nobody's thought of it. And a year and a half later, my first book came out. So that was really the beginning of the journey that I had, was actually, for me, it was about letting go and relaxing. For other people, I found that they might need the intention piece more. Maybe they're really good at relaxing and letting go, but they're not so good at the intention piece. Or maybe they're not very good at attention, keeping steady attention on things. But throughout my life, Cynthia, I have seen that every new breakthrough that's come for me, happy for no reason, came to me through also just going off on a little meditation retreat. I did 4 days that time because I figured 7 days. I don't need 7 days. I came to me on the 4th day last time. So I went away for 4 days and it came happy for no reason came. And so it's, for me, the balance of those three things has really brought that success.
Well, I love that. And there were a few things that were popping in my head as you were talking. One was that you set this goal, you knew what you wanted. The second important thing to me was that, okay, you didn't know how to get there. And that's what I want all of you ladies to know. You don't have to know how to get to the dream, but to put it there, to put your intention out there, and then to put your full attention on it. And the other thing I want to say is that you listened. Your friend came and said, I can see that the way in which you're operating is not supportive. Let's try something else. And you trusted her enough to go do something that was unfamiliar to you, that was uncomfortable at the beginning, and yet it opened the field. And so I want to ask you, so here you got the series is coming out, the first book, and everything's going well. Was there ever a moment where you were in question?
So thank you for asking that, because that leads to the second part of the story. Remember, I told you I had those 5 goals, and I thought once I got those goals, I'd be happy. And I worked really hard to get all my ducks in a row and have all of that working. And a couple of years after my first Chicken Soup for the Soul book had come out, I had one come out every year. They were all New York Times bestsellers. And I found myself, I had a turning point moment. It was in 1998. And I had 3 books at the same time on the top 5 on the New York Times list. I had just finished giving a speech to 8,000 women, and I had autographed 5,432 books. I felt like they had a massage therapist there to massage my hands so that I would continue to write. I felt like an author rock star, and I had worked so hard for this, and all those other things were working. I was in a great relationship, and I had a nice home, all that stuff. And Cynthia, after I autographed that last book, I went up to my hotel room, which was the penthouse suite that my client had gotten for me. And I walked over, it was in Chicago, I walked over to the beautiful panoramic view of Lake Michigan. I took it in, and then I turned around and collapsed onto the bed in tears. And I realized that I had what I thought I needed to be happy, and that hole in my heart was still there. I still felt that emptiness inside. I could no longer continue to fool myself into thinking that just the next thing was going to do it for me. And I made a commitment to myself in that moment that I was going to find out what it takes to be truly happy, the happiness that doesn't depend on things that I now call happy for no reason. And I went out and I did all the research on happiness, and I interviewed people who are unconditionally happy, and I started doing what they were doing. And that's when my life turned around. I would say back then I would have gotten, if you were grading me in happiness, I would have gotten a D+. Now I'm an A. Now I'm a work in progress. I'm still working on it, but there's a solidity inside that is so different than what I felt before. And what I found is that success doesn't bring happiness. And all the research on success shows that. But that happiness, or what I call happy for no reason, an inner feeling of peace and well-being, will bring greater success. You're operating at a more attuned, high level of connection with yourself when you're deeply happy. I'm not happy because, but happy for no reason. And so that became my thing, is I just wanted to be happy. And as that kind of happy, and as that built more and more, my success built more and more. It's beyond what I would have imagined back then.
Wow.
But it matters. Success alone doesn't do it, as we see. You can find a gazillion people in Hollywood who have all the money and success and fame and looks and everything. And, they're amongst the most unhappy. So that's become my kind of success. And I know that's what you're about.
Well, yeah. And I have to tell you that many years ago, there was a show called Star Search, and I won I was the winner, and they handed me $100,000 on television. And I was in glee. My family was there. 2 days later, my family left, and I did exactly the same thing you did. I fell on the floor and I was crying. And I called Michael Beckwith, who was my friend. And I said, I just don't know it. And he said, okay, so here's the deal. He said, you're never satisfied in the moment. You're always looking for what's next. I want you to walk around your house and say, I'm enough, and call me back when you feel clear. And I was like, not a problem. Well, 3 hours later, after falling on the floor several times and weeping, I finally got to, I've got to accept myself. I've got to honor myself right where I am and trust that something else will propel me forward. So I totally know what you're talking about. And that's a journey in itself. And I guess that's the next question I want to ask you is, okay, so what do you think is the biggest challenge for women in terms of taking ownership for their lives?
Yeah. I'm sorry to sound cliche. Self-love. Deep, true self-love, meaning love, a feeling which I define as an internal feeling of love, not depending on your circumstances, meaning not depending on whether you did a good job or didn't do a good job, whether you look a particular way or don't, whether whatever is going on in your life, that you have an unconditional feeling of compassion and love for yourself, because that's the only time that we can truly take in all the good that's out there. Otherwise, it doesn't actually land. It's like, okay, I did that. Check off the list. Okay, I did that. It doesn't land. What we need it to do is to really register so that we're celebrating our lives, living in a state of celebration, no matter what. And that lack of self-love is the greatest thing. And Cynthia, there's the saying, we teach what we most want to learn. So on this, I am a work in progress, and getting to talk about it and getting to share it. And pretty much wherever I go, women will go, yeah, I get that. I could use more, because it has to do with our inner sense of worthiness. How much are we open to receiving the amazing gifts that the universe has for us everywhere? And they're there. It's just a matter of removing our, expanding our capacity to receive them.
Yeah. So that leads me to the miraculous unfoldings, because I consider myself a miraculous unfolding, because there's no rhyme or reason why I should be where I am today from where I came from. And I believe that miracles are everywhere, but I want to know, why are you doing a year of miracles?
Yeah. So about 8 or 9 years ago, I told you my happiness really transformed. And then I was finding myself waking up every morning feeling like I'm living a miraculous life. This is amazing. I mean, I'd think about somebody, they'd show up. I'd need an answer for something and the book would be right there with the answer in it. People were coming to me with opportunities. I was invited to be part of the Nobel Women's Initiative, where I was traveling the world with Nobel Peace Prize winners. And it was like, I felt like my life was in the flow. And I realized that the same way that there's actually a formula for happiness. Happiness is not, some people are born happy, but most people, there's a real way to get there. I found that there's also a formula for miracles. There's a way. Miracles, according to the dictionary, are a surprise and welcome event that can't be explained by science and that is often attributed to divine grace. We can't create miracles, but what we can do is we can put ourselves we can create the conditions for miracles to flow in our life. We can put ourselves in what I call the miracle zone, where these miraculous things just unfold in our lives.
Well, yes. And to be awake enough and aware enough to see them and experience them and receive them. I mean, that's the deal for me. So before I ask you the final question, I wanted you to tell people how to find you and all the amazing work you do in the world.
So you can find me at two places, youryearofmiracles.com, where we have a year-long program where we help people live in the miracle zone in every area of their life. And then the other is happyfornoreason.com, happyfornoreason.com.
So ladies, run, do not walk to those two websites and take advantage of the gift. Marci has been in my life for quite some time, and she's a generous, loving person who lives in her zone of genius. If you want to know how she does that.
Thank you. But Cynthia, I'm gonna take it a step further and tell them the real story. Can I tell them?
Go ahead.
Cynthia and I are in this wonderful, wonderful women's group together. There are 5 of us. We call ourselves the Miracle Mavens. And I have the great, great total privilege to get to be with you, Cynthia. I think you are an extraordinary human being on this planet. You inspire me everywhere I go. Every time I'm with you, you are the real deal, solid. So for those of you who are in your community, I just want you to know, man, are you with the right person who is just this beautiful, amazing, expanded, bright light soul on this planet.
Oh, Marci, thank you. That makes me weepy. And I was like, no, I can't have the eyelashes fall off. So here's the last question. I ask the same question of every guest. What is the one thing you want women to know about the power of awakening?
I want the one thing women to know about the power of awakening is that it's what you're here on the planet for, and that it's not selfish. In fact, it's the most generous thing that you could possibly do. Women always say, well, is it selfish to focus on me and my awakening? What about the world? Here's what I know. When you awaken, when you experience and know, when each of us knows our own light, that's how we change the world. In fact, there's a Chinese proverb I love to share about this, and it goes like this. It says, when there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. When there's harmony in the house, there will be peace in the nation. And when there's peace in the there will be order in the nation. And when there's order in the nation, there will be peace in this world. And my prayer and my wish for all of us is that we know that light. We awaken to the true essence that we are. And through that, we together help create peace here on this planet of ours.
Wow. Okay, ladies, I hope you wrote that down. If not, listen to it again. So, Marci, thank you so much for being here, taking time out of your extraordinary busy schedule. I'm honored to walk with this path with you and honored to call you friend.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia. I love you.
Love you too. So, ladies, we do this every week. Come back every week and meet somebody new and extraordinary. And I want to leave you with this piece of information. You are a miraculous unfolding. You are a masterpiece in the making. You are a divine expression that came here to do something so extraordinary. Nobody else can do it the way that you can do it. You matter. You're important. And so step up, step out, dream big, Dare to go into that place where you look at your intention, you put your attention there, and you let go of anything that would hold you back. I love you, and I'm honored to walk this path with you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.